Yeah, it's the BKBK podcast where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. I'm your host, Brandon Phillips, and I'm joined by my co-host, Brian Taylor, Terry Taylor, and Captain Kyle McKenna.
That's right.
All right? So, fellas, what are we saying today? Are we talking like Fat Joe saying, thank God for that white?
Thank God for El Blanco.
You know what I'm saying? Or are we
Thank God
saying
for the
we
whites.
have to bring White back, Zach Wilson back? Which one of those are we saying today?
Nunca.
Well, Daryl Johnson said at the end of the game, he goes, yeah, Robert Saleh has a really difficult decision to make. And everybody that I was in the room with looked around and said, no, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
No, he don't.
No, he don't.
He kind of doesn't. And listen, y'all know, like, I basically helped recruit Zach Wilson. You know what I'm saying? I'm still a fan of the kid, but listen, I'm not gonna break. I'm not gonna fix something that's not broken, man. I mean, and listen,
yo,
Mike White looked great today. It was an excellent coaching move. Okay, coaching isn't just about the X's and O's. It's about forethought. It's about
Wait. Is it about the Jimmies and Joes too?
It is. It's about the Jimmies and Joes, not the X's and O's. But I'm gonna start the flow. Yeah, I'm playing.
I hope you playing.
Yeah,
somebody stop him. Somebody's playing. Wait. I mean, but listen. I mean, let's go to it. Let's go to the videotape. Let's talk stats, right? So, Mike White was the anti Zach Wilson today. Right?
Yeah, he was the reciprocal. He was.
Right? The inverse. He was 22 of 28. That's 78.6% completion percentage, right? It's not Zach's forte. 315 yards passing. He had almost 200 yards in the first half.
No, he had 235 yards in the first half.
230 fever? In the first?
230 fever.
All right, I'll go with that.
And we really ran the ball in the fourth quarter, third and fourth quarter too.
Right, so he could have
we didn't throw as much.
He could have gone for 400 or 500 yards. That's basically what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
3 touchdowns.
Maybe not that far, but
no. He could. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions,
no picks,
and no fumbles,
no turnovers whatsoever.
Took one sack. One sack.
And that was a coverage sack, I would call it.
Yeah. So
he had time to throw, and then all of a sudden, he didn't anymore. So like those types of sacks are not necessarily bad O-line play. Sometimes they're good D-back play. So,
I mean, fellas, we just riddled off a lot of positive stats. The Jets win. What is it? 31-10. We needed that win. We lost 2 in a row. We are back in the sauce as far as playoff contention.
But wait. We didn't lose 2 in a row. Buffalo was mixed in there, and we beat Buffalo in between the games against.
It felt like 2 in a row because we lost to New England twice.
It did.
Yeah. So it did, and we felt like we should have beat New England twice. You know what I'm saying? But basically, my point is, do we officially have a QB controversy on the New York Jets? And I say, yeah, we do.
Nah,
but
no, we don't.
Controversy.
No, we don't.
No,
we don't.
Hold on.
Hold
on.
Right.
I think
you go.
Let me finish.
Okay, go.
Let me finish.
All right.
I'm saying a QB controversy in the sense that we keep Mike White. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to say we keep Mike White, but a controversy in the sense of we picked Zach Wilson, number 2 in the draft, a lot of money, a lot of investment in him, and just from the media and everything, creating a controversy. But I don't look at it as that, and I'm a big Zach Wilson fan, but like I said, when we started the show off, I'm not going to fix what's not broken, and it looks like, Mike White is our QB, and I'm happy with that.
Can we put some guardrails on this conversation? Can we just talk about this?
Structure it.
Yes, this year and not beyond, because I think we have a long time in the offseason to talk about the future.
Well, I was talking about.
I would say this in Brandon's defense. I think you can't just ignore the elephant in the room, and the elephant in the room is Zach Wilson your quarterback of the future? Is he your quarterback right now? No, clearly he's not your quarterback right now. So the way that I'll answer that question is to say yes, we have a quarterback controversy from an organizational standpoint, but from a team standpoint, we ain't got no controversy. We playing whoever gives us the best chance to win right now. And that's what the team wants. If you look at any of those guys, you walk into that locker room right now, every one of those players would tell you we are better off with Mike White right now. We don't care about tomorrow. Tomorrow's irrelevant, right? But there's relevancy there from an organizational standpoint because you still have to figure out whether or not you need to keep him on your roster on long term. So that's the way I'm going to answer that question.
Well, I mean, and to me, I don't think there's a controversy because right now, to your point, he's the quarterback not only of now, but until, TBD. I don't see a date right now, even September of next year, unless totally Mike White kind of wets the bed at this point, that you would put Zach Wilson back at the helm.
I think you have too much of a small sample size to say Mike White is your quarterback going forward indefinitely.
Now, here's why I say you have enough just at this juncture. I'm not saying that he'd never get back there, but here's my thing. The post-game conversations, right, from an Elijah Moore, right, talking about what was different and saying, well, we played as a team, right? That's a veiled shot at Zach Wilson.
Yeah, sure.
Right? So you can't go back to Zach, right, at this point unless the team decides, you know what, I think it's time to go back to Zach.
No, the team will be totally different next year. You'll have different personnel next year.
Not a lot of it though. You have a young team.
Yeah,
right?
yes. You'll have different. Your personnel won't be exactly the same. So the point that I'm making is that you don't have enough of a book on Mike White to say there's no controversy and you're going to be our quarterback going in September. If you give me a choice between Mike White and Garoppolo, I'm gonna tell you Mike White's not going to be our quarterback. Right? That's what I'm going to tell you. I'm not going into the season with Mike White as our starting QB1. It is going to be
again. That's why I want to put these guardrails up because we're talking about way past right now.
Right,
and
right.
I never was talking about next year. I was basically saying the same thing.
You're talking about right now, right? So you're just talking about right now, and I say right now we don't have a controversy.
Same page as you.
Yeah.
I just think that and especially if you listen to what Robert Saleh said. He said that he plans on getting Zach Wilson back this season at some point in this season. But if Mike White continues to play like this, I think, we do have a QB controversy because we have the head coach saying, we love Zach, we respect him, he just needs to reset himself, and we do plan on getting him back in, but not if Mike White is doing this.
Right, but to your point, Saleh also said that Zach Wilson is our quarterback going forward regardless of what happens. Yeah. Right? Did he not say that? He said that. Look it up. He
said that 2 weeks ago.
Right.
A lot has changed since
right. And a lot has happened in 2 weeks.
Correct.
So my point is that a lot can happen in the next 6 that changes the direction of the ship again.
Well, and that's why I think to me a controversy means there is a decision to be made that isn't 100% clear. Right? To me, if you're talking about controversy, it's like, should we start this guy? Should we start that guy? There is no decision at this point in time.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
So to me,
I agree, yeah.
to me, he's going to go to the post-game presser. Saleh he's going to go into whatever conversation he has until the next time they play football, and nobody's going to go up there and say, should Zach start on Monday?
No one.
Right? Nobody. Nobody. So there's no controversy to me at this point. That's what I mean. Right. Like the decision, Mike White's play has made the decision at this point. Sure. Until Mike White's play decides something different. If he goes out there against Buffalo, right? Right? because we got Buffalo and Minnesota over the next 2 weeks.
Right.
And he doesn't look like how he looked like against the Bears. Then maybe you have a controversy at that point. But if we're talking about right now,
yeah,
huh?
We are.
Okay,
so we're all saying the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say something totally different. So, I think yes, I am. I think that I well, maybe not totally different, but I think in this hive mind that we have on our text thread, and we you know we think a lot in the same kind of parameters, right?
Yeah.
And I think what some of us are doing here is we're listening to what's being said, but we're also listening to what's not being said.
Sure.
And I think when Brian brings up, Elijah Moore says we played better as a team, that's a veiled shot at Zach Wilson. I think there's a lot of that going on here, especially with Robert Saleh. So I said to you guys early in the week that I don't think that this was a performance-based benching. I think this was disciplinary. At least 75% disciplinary, and maybe 25% play-wise.
Because there's no reason that you don't dress him.
There's no reason that he's inactive unless it's punishment.
And look at the history.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at the comments made at the end of the game publicly, the ones we did hear, no, I didn't let down the defense. No, no accountability whatsoever. I think there's a lot of stuff that we're not hearing that the Jets have done a great job of keeping in-house, which may have been festering for weeks, where he lost the locker room a long time ago. I think Hasselbeck said it on the countdown today. Great conversation, by the way.
You say he lost the locker room, you mean Zach?
Yes.
Okay. Zach Wilson lost the locker room. Okay. And that's maybe because he acts entitled, maybe because he's not a good leader, maybe because of things that he's done or said in the past, and those types of things they built. But it sounds as though the Jets handled internal business this week while painting a picture externally of something maybe not radically different than what was actually going on, but different. I think it's the only reason you make him inactive. There's no other reasoning that there is behind it, other than go take a timeout, go sit down, because you messed up in more ways than one. And if Robert Saleh, don't do this to you right now, then I'm going to lose everybody else.
Correct.
Let me piggyback off of what you're saying, Kyle, and then look at the history of it, right? The same thing happened with Elijah Moore, who came off as disgruntled, happy, and potentially damaging team chemistry. And then the same thing happened before that with Denzel Mims, as we know, was disgruntled, wanted to be traded, just like Elijah, wanted to be traded, and he didn't want to provoke a cancer in the locker room and also have, podcasts like this and the media like that's out there in the ether coming back and creating more of a firestorm. So he basically doused it out, made them inactive. You look at Zach Wilson inactive, Mims inactive, Elijah Moore inactive. And this is what I was saying before. Coaching isn't just about the X's and O's. Look at what he's doing. He's doing a really, really good job as far as cultivating a good chemistry, a good locker room, and not just for the players, but for the coaching staff and for the GM as well, to know how to go about handling these things, and also for the players to sit back and self-reflect a little bit to see like how they need to, approach the team and their careers in a professional manner. And look at Elijah Moore. He wasn't acting like that today. He scored a TD. He got a couple nice big grabs from
Mike Wright.
From made some blocks on the Ty Johnson run. And what's the other thing that Robert Saleh always preaches? Keep the main thing, right? That's one of his major mantras. Like everybody loves the all gas, no brakes, but I mean that kind of came and went to me as like more of like
training camp vibes.
Yeah, but keeping the main thing is something that you see in all the moves that him and Joe Douglas makes. It's focusing on what we need to focus on. And I don't think it's easy at all to deal with the New York media. Rich Samini, you got Connor Hughes that works for SNY.
They bait you into stuff.
They bait you into stuff, and they get overly emotional. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand why
Hughes gets very emotional.
Yeah, a person who is covering a team would get emotional like a fan. It's not what we need. What we need is for you to cover the team. So I mean, we're the ones that are supposed to get emotional.
I have a conspiracy theory.
What is it?
In the vein of Coach Kyle. For some reason, Friday's or Thursday's press conference was delayed by 2 hours. And I just feel like I don't think they initially were going to bench him. I think that came out late hours. I think that decision was a late hours decision. That was something that was collectively decided on with team management, ownership, and the head coach.
I don't disagree there, because it has to be, right. You're talking about the number 2 pick in the draft, right? So the GM is going to be involved in that decision, just like all decisions, personnel wise. And I remember Robert Saleh kind of talking about that. One thing I do want to differentiate between the Mims situation, Elijah Moore putting him on one side, and the Zach Wilson on the other side,
right,
is that the team never wavered in the Mims and Elijah Moore decision. They supported those brothers, right, during that conversation. You didn't hear anybody else in the locker room that was a dissenting opinion, even though they were going out there and saying some things that they needed to be benched for. Zach Wilson, not so much, right? When you listen to Garrett Wilson after the game, right?
In the moment,
in the moment, right? And there wasn't I'm supporting Zach Wilson. I didn't hear a lot of people in there, we're supporting Zach. He's going to get us through, blah, blah, blah. There was either I'm not going to say nothing, or there was Garrett Wilson who was coming out there and saying, well, if you're going to blame it on the wide receivers, then I'm going to go out there and have something to say about him. That's where I think there's a differentiation between those two scenarios, and why I think it's going to take a lot for that young man in order to get the reins back again of this team.
I hear you, B. I hear you, but but you definitely heard the same speak, so to speak, from the coaching staff and the upper management. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I think B,
here's my question: what else were they going to say? Did you expect for them to say that, you know what, he's our number 2 pick, but he's never going to see the field again? I mean, no. they're not going to diminish an asset, right?
No, but that's true. But they could have used a different tone. Maybe using the same words, but using a different tone. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like their tone was the same throughout with all the players that this has happened to. And players are more reactionary. They're the ones living in the moment. They're the ones playing football. So I understand where Garrett Wilson's coming from and everything, but ultimately it's not his decision to make. So the decision makers
totally.
are the ones that kept the even keel. And I think that is the most important thing as far as what you want to project out there. You know what I'm saying? For public consumption.
Sure.
And sometimes players don't do the best job of that because they're the players. And it's up to the coaches and the upper management to be the ones to keep it even. And I think that they've done a good job of doing that. That's my point.
I don't think that Garrett Wilson said anything that would be considered in my mind to be conduct detrimental to the team.
Oh, no.
Absolutely not. That's not what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's not what I was saying.
And nor, well, I mean, if we're going to take, for instance, if what Brandon's saying about both Elijah Moore and Denzel Mims being benching in the same light as the Zach Wilson benching, which I totally agree with. I think you're starting to see how the Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh unit deals with internal strife, right?
Sure.
Like,
sure.
If you're gonna go out there and you're gonna request a trade, we're going to tell you that we're not trading you, and then we're going to bench you because what you did was you created a groundswell of negative feeling around the team. Let's say that that's the reasoning that they did this stuff.
And I feel like, again, I'm sorry.
Well, I feel like when you have a roster that is good enough to be able to bench somebody and put somebody else up, then you have like the leverage in which to do that. I don't know if we've had that in years past where we could just bench somebody so that we could put like a Vincent Smith in there to play receiver, right? So and
why you making fun of Vincent, man? Was the I was about to say
Vincent was a contributor for us, so thank you for your service, Vincent. But like, I mean, they've been using the game day roster in a lot of ways. Like what I don't think is a controversy is the fact that you have a healthy scratch in James Robinson and you pull up Zonovan Knight to play today. And I think the reasoning behind that.
Do you have any insight on that? Because that still is a question mark to me. I'm like, what happened there?
So this is the conclusion that I've come to, and this is not because anybody's told me anything or I scooped it. My theory is that because he was going to be the number one kickoff returner today, they elevated him to that spot as the running back. So he had a special teams role that he was filling as well as a running back role, and that's why.
Who was he replacing, though, Kyle? Who was he replacing as the kick returner?
Who did they have? It was Berrios and
It was the guy you like, 25. What's it?
Yeah, Ty Johnson.
Ty Johnson. Yeah, but I don't think that they've liked having Ty Johnson as a kick returner.
But he was
since they put him back there. I think that was kind of like, okay, that's what we're gonna do if that's who we have to do it with.
Okay.
But I don't think they necessarily like that. I think that they thought they were upgrading their kick return game with Zonovan Knight and there. I mean, I can't believe the depth that we have in the running back room where we can sustain all these injuries.
Right. So still put it out there. So here's my thing, and I know Kerry's gonna, because you're bringing up Z, that we're gonna give him some room to breathe there. But here's what I'm saying. Here's why I don't believe that. The reason why I don't is that he was your number 2 running back ahead of Ty Johnson. And when we were bleeding the clock, Ty Johnson wasn't the guy we were bleeding the clock with. It was Zonovan Knight.
No, it was both of them.
I mean, but carry for carry, and we'll look it up.
Right. He started.
Right.
Like when Mike White went down, Michael Carter went down.
Right.
Bam became.
He became the number 1 running back at that point in time. So so that's where I think that honestly, they felt the running back room needed some juice. They needed somebody that could come in and you hand him the ball. He's gonna run and get what's blocked, and he has, to me, more speed than a Michael Carter. Michael Carter's shifty, and I get that, but straight line speed, I think Zonovan brought that today. And I'm gonna look up his stats and kind of speak to that. But
4.9 per 64 yards rushing.
Okay, speak to that. I mean, that's your guy.
All right.
I mean, also, Ty Johnson was already in the game plan as a running back in personnel packages. So, I mean, you could shift Robinson out and put Bam in without messing up those personnel packages, whereas those Ty Johnson personnel packages were pretty much like, with 1 tight end and 3 receivers.
Well,
Go ahead, Kerry.
And then I'll give it to Kerry. So Zonovan had 14 rushes to Ty Johnson's 5, right? So that speaks to just, his importance as far as who was going to be the number 1 running back when Michael Carter went out versus the number 2. And he ran for 69 yards, 4.9 average. Now, Ty Johnson did a lot with his 5 rushes went for 62 yards. He averaged 12.4. His long was 32.
And he had some swing passes too.
Right. So and he had a touchdown as well. And the pass game was out there. Zonovan had 3 receptions for 34, and then Ty Johnson had 1 for 16. So they both did well. I'm just saying, as far as touches, I mean, Z definitely out-touched him, and it wasn't close.
Right, and I just believe that Bam is a different runner. Bam is the runner that I've been asking for the last several years in terms of a change of pace guy, a 1 foot in the ground, cut, falling forward, makes you pay if you hit him after the contact. That's the kind of guy that I've been looking for to sort of change the pace of what our other very good running backs do. And I just don't think that Ty Johnson gives you that type of dynamic consistently. I mean, he's a good.
I disagree.
Again, you can disagree all you want. I'm not finished, but but again, what I saw today just reconfirmed that. And I don't know why James Robinson wasn't on the field. It doesn't make any sense to me, other than they saw something in practice that they felt that Bam needed to come up and needed to get some playing time.
Do I have your permission to speak?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right, yeah.
I disagree.
Yeah, so, 2 jerks.
Yeah,
I disagree.
I do disagree. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from Bam McKnight, or Bam Knight, whatever his last name is, but
Brian McKnight.
Brian McKnight. That's his name.
Brian
He just
McKnight,
renamed him.
Zonovan Bam.
Yeah.
Donovan
McKnight.
Brian McKnight. Yeah.
Donovan.
Tevin Coleman and Brian McKnight.
Yeah.
Running back.
Zonovan. He sounds like he's Jamaican via Belize or something like that.
Guyana.
Donovan instead of Donovan. But yeah, I think he's a good back. I just think that Ty Johnson is a better back. I noticed that he's a little bit more quick twitch than say Zonovan. Just for me watching him, and I just happen to like those quick twitch backs that change direction laterally. I think he's a better lateral cutter than say Zonovan. But Zonovan's effective. He's good. I'm happy to have him on the team. But if we're comparing running backs and which one do you think is better? That's it. It's really nothing. I just think that Ty is a touch better than Zonovan. But I'm happy to have him on the squad. That's all.
I just think
what is Zonovan's dimensions?
Oh,
what?
I don't know.
What are his dimensions? Yeah, because he looks small to me.
5'10", 209.
And what's Ty Johnson?
Bigger.
220.
Tell you. Yeah, probably like 220.
I like 215.
But to me, it's about commitment to
5'10", 210. 5'10", 210.
It's about commitment to getting more yards.
They're the same size.
To me.
They don't look but
pretty much.
That's on Yahoo Sports. That's what it says. I'm just telling you what it is.
And to me, it speaks to him. To me, Bam becoming running back 1 after Michael Carter left speaks to their confidence in him. They could have put Ty Johnson back there as the running back 1 after Michael Carter went down, but they didn't. They just ran with him.
Or they could put James Robinson as the backup, right, or at least number 3.
No, I'm talking about after. I'm talking about after Michael Carter got hurt.
No, I totally.
He was in. Wasn't it was inactive? James Robinson was inactive. He couldn't even go back. He couldn't go get in.
And that's what I mean. I mean, so yeah, they do trust him, rookie, right? So he needed a little more seasoning, but maybe he just in practice just overtook just the way he was getting yards and stuff like that.
This is what I'm saying.
Well, he's making that rookie minimum weekly game check, so they want to get their money's worth out of it, right?
Is he getting a rookie minimum? He's on the practice squad.
Well, if you're a practice squad, you make a certain amount of money, and then if you get elevated to the game day roster, your game check for that week goes to
active roster game check. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
And then if you get activated 4 games, on the 5th game you have to get.
You got to be put up to the big club.
The minimum, yeah.
Not, you got to get released.
It's not like they can. Yeah. So.
And I think this is the first. This is his first game, right? Wasn't this his first game where he was on an active roster?
I think so.
Right. All right.
I saw him on special teams. I feel like I saw him on special teams like once before that. Doing some kick return stuff.
I mean, I'm worried that he did well enough that someone would sign him off the practice.
Sure. Agreed.
At this point, he's let's think about a guy like him, right? Trenton Cannon, who is still bouncing around the league. I think he plays for San Francisco now. Yeah, he's better than Trenton Cannon.
Right, but my point is, why would they put him back on the practice squad if he was returning kicks and he was running back one when Mike Carter went down? That just wouldn't make any sense to me. He's on the special teams and he started as running back after. He ain't going back down
next week because we'll see what happens next week. With Carter, he hurt his ankle.
Right.
And then we need to see what's up with James Robinson. We're not sure what's up with him either. So we'll see as the week progresses next week.
And I'll say can't trust 4 running backs when you got all those tight ends and slots. You can't do that.
No, but I mean, it just speaks to the depth, like Kyle mentioned. I mean, the depth of the running back room, right? The depth of the wide receiver room, the tight end room. Like we have so much talent on this roster at this point. It's crazy to even say that based on where we were 24 months ago. It's just crazy to even think that, right? That we're making decisions where people are poaching our players off of the practice squad religiously and starting them, right? Not just keep them on the bench, but just starting our bench players. And we have this much depth in the running back room with Breece Hall going down. You're like, what's going to happen? Because Michael Carter didn't look like the same guy. But, again, when we play complementary football and we can throw the ball, it opens up the run as well. Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You got that right. I mean, you know what I'm interested in seeing? I'm interested in seeing the PFF scores for the offensive line.
Yes.
Kerry was saying that too. Yeah.
Even though the PFF kind of bothers me though, but overall, if you look at the game, for a hurt up, beat up offensive line that hasn't had the time to gel because there's been a lack of continuity there, I think we played an overall good game as far as the O-line is concerned. Zach only got sacked once. He wasn't overly pressured. He had time to make his throws and to make his reads.
You talking about Mike White, or are you still loving Zach, so you just kept
My bad. I called him Zach, right? I meant to say Mike White. But I do still love Zach, though. I still do love him. I'm not going to give up on him. But, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You already heard that like 10 minutes ago. But, also, I don't know if you guys saw this block, but the struggling Laken Tomlinson had a nice block on that touchdown run that Ty Johnson had, taking it to the left side into the end zone there. He had a nice block there, So I was like, okay, and you know what? He wouldn't have had the touchdown without that block. So good job by him. A nice block on the second level, ran out there, and I was like, okay, all right, guy. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you just string up some more of those and get your PFF grade out from being in the 40s and 50s and get it up into the 70s every now and then.
Right.
So is the pass protection the thing that gave our quarterback so much time today, or was it the way the quarterback operates inside of his pass protection, getting the ball out, all the things that he's doing? Because I didn't see Mike White do a single baseball turn out to the side like Zach Wilson loves to do, because he leaves the pocket too fast.
Yeah.
Because he's not confident in it. Right. He's a 1-2 read guy. Especially when he's got an exotic defense in front of him like Bill Belichick. It's a little difficult for him.
And you know what Mike White does way better than Zach? I saw him on a number of throws climb the pocket with the pressure coming around him. He still climbed the pocket, especially that one nice throw that he threw to Conklin that got us in the red zone. He climbed the pocket and just zeroed in on him. It was kind of a high, throw, but he made it available for Conklin to catch it and then to get the yak.
You love saying he throws high, bro.
Yeah,
he loves saying he throws high, bro.
Gosh. All three of us can't be wrong,
you love
Brandon.
It. You love it.
All three of us can't be wrong, Brandon.
Bro, I said I'm giving him props. He threw it high,
bro,
so that he could get it and get the yak. So it doesn't even matter.
Yak.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I almost
call him Baby Hennessy. He got all that yak.
I almost went back and watched the preseason games to just once again see how many times Mike White threw high in the preseason games, because that's all you were talking about.
Yeah,
why does this guy throw so high?
does. He does. He does throw high.
I mean, you know all our receivers must be 7 foot tall because he's 78% completion percentage, bro. What are you talking about?
Oh, stop encapsulating it into one game. I'm just saying he had a great. I'm not saying he's a high thrower today. He had a great game.
But you had to mention high throw. You had to mention high throw.
But does the kid have a history of throwing high? Yeah,
no, he doesn't, bro. I mean, only to you, man. Only when you watch the film, bro. You're killing yourself. What are you talking about?
Oh, no way. No way.
Killing me out. Right. Look, even during the success that Zach Wilson has had, right? Zach Wilson has had, and during this year, I would always bring up the fact that I can't stand the fact that he doesn't read the defense pre-snap.
How do you know that?
Because it looks like where his eyes are going are never to looking to scan the field before he snaps the ball. You know what I mean? I feel like he's automatically just ready to snap. Like he's skittish, wants to get in and out of the pocket, and I think that because of that, it oftentimes when he's ready to throw, he's not setting his feet.
Sure.
Because he's afraid and he's waiting to get hit, right? And the other part of that is when he's afraid, his tendency is to go backwards instead of stepping into the throw or stepping up into the pocket.
Yeah.
Right? Or left, right. Exactly like you said, climb the pocket. And those are the things that he has to correct with urgency for him to have any level of success at the position. And I think those things that I mentioned, along with the fact of, getting out of your first your first option quickly to read to your second option and making the decision to throw.
Right.
All of the things that Mike White is a capable quarterback at accomplishing.
So, I mean, I was concerned, right? And I was like, why did they pick Mike White over Flacco? And I like Mike White last year. We went to the Bengals game and saw him, and that's kind of where he started his Jets career from that perspective. But I was kind of curious and did my research, sent you guys that article, right? Because I was like, he's not elusive like Zach's, and our offensive line is not together yet. Not yet. So is he going to get sacked like a lot like Flacco? And then going through the article and reading it, quick decision maker. You saw that today. Accurate with the football. I don't recall us throwing slants in the last 3 games, right? With Zach Wilson.
I think we did. He just couldn't execute them.
I mean, and we definitely didn't execute on it.
He had a lot of balls batted down.
He's just not accurate. Where he doesn't put it where it needs to be, where it's not going to end up as an interception.
He's throwing it too late.
That too.
On the slants. That's what's happening.
That too.
That's what's happening.
But Mike White putting in the breadbasket, right? Giving you an opportunity to run after the catch. Throws it to the running back a lot, right? And what did he do? Throw it to Ty Johnson in rhythm, wide open, right? For 16 yards. Easy reception, right? Conklin, right? I'm going to throw it right to you. Elijah Moore. All of these guys look wide open, didn't they?
Yeah, right? And Garrett, who just stuck his foot in the dirt and cut back.
Oh, my God. Made a play, right? Get him open, wide open, and he made a play. All these guys look wide open. These are the same wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs that Zach was running with, right? But the read wasn't made on time. The ball wasn't accurate. All of those things that led the offense to stall. And I don't want to keep beating up the kid, but I just, I like the way Mike White went about his business. I like that he gave me the little wink after the first touchdown as well, and then into the camera. That was dope. I like that.
As opposed to the face that Zach Wilson was making the minute the first score, they panned to him and his face was this. It was a resting, what face.
Looks like he was sucking on exhaust there.
Right.
But anyway, I mean, listen, I loved how we came out. And let's be honest, we're in a playoff race right now. I mean, it's crazy to say right now, but we are in a playoff race.
We're not doing mock drafts.
No, mock drafts. Who we're going to draft in the first round?
We're not doing mock
drafts. Who cares? Right?
In November.
I came away with some pretty solid opinions from this weekend's college football about who the best quarterbacks coming out are. As we have been kind of talking about that a little bit.
Before you go further, are any of them, as you know right now, better than Mike White?
No, I don't think that this is an unbelievably good quarterback class.
Overrated QB draft class. I think it's overrated.
Yeah, but there are two quarterbacks that I like. That are
5 going in the first round.
They always do. It's always 5 or 6. It's crazy.
Not always.
It is. Seems like every year now.
The two I like are in that Jalen Hurts mold, where they played at at least two different places at a high level, and they're really like peaking out right now where it counts. And that's Michael Penix from University of Washington, who leads the Division I in passing yards right now. He drops 400 yards like every time he's out there, like it's not even nothing. And he played and started at Indiana in the first year that Indiana had a good year. So he's a graduate transfer. And then you got the guy Caleb Williams at USC, who was the Oklahoma starting quarterback last year. I got to watch him play the whole game against Notre Dame yesterday, and he's pretty good. Stroud, not my favorite QB. Wouldn't pick Stroud. And you want to talk about a resting B face. You should watch the University of Michigan put it on them yesterday, and he had that look on his face a lot. But yeah, I think that
I love that.
The big
one, no, but you know,
I'm kind of glad that Notre Dame didn't win because I think USC should probably be in the playoff. But
what about that quarterback from Western Kentucky that's supposed to be good? Is it Western Kentucky?
Or is it Kentucky?
It might be Kentucky.
I haven't watched him play at all.
Okay, it's supposed to be a really good quarterback coming out of one of those two schools. I forget. Yeah, but
but that's a school that doesn't usually have. It's not known for big offense, but they got Stoops there now, so that might be part of it. But the big thing about Mike White today was, I think every single person on our roster who was eligible to catch a pass did.
Right. Yeah.
We
had 10 receivers that caught passes, at least one from Mike White.
Right.
So he really did well in spreading it out. And when you spread it out like that, the defense can't own in on one or two receivers and formulate a game plan to try and shut you down because he's throwing it all over the place.
It also means you're going to first, second, third, fourth reads in a progression. Yep. It also means that you are throwing to hot receivers. Like there was one time he had a ton of pressure coming at him, threw it to the hot guy outside first down. I think it was Uzama. And Uzama has kind of, I think in the two tight ends that we signed, we found that Conklin is the pass catcher and Uzama is the blocker, right?
Right.
But now they're supposed to
signed him for that much money to block.
Well, I think that what's happening now,
locker room presence too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you have good quarterback play, then they're both blockers and pass catchers.
Yeah,
right. So, that's another thing.
And Conklin is more durable because Uzama tends to get hurt a little bit more. But I never looked at Uzama as a blocker. But not saying that he can't, but I just think that he can do both. And actually, I think they were looking at Uzama to be more of the primary targeted or primarily targeted tight end out of the bunch. But through camp and everything, Conklin is a little bit more sure-handed, and he has a thicker build, so to speak, and is a bit more durable. Hopefully we can see a little bit more of our local favorite Jeremy Ruckert. But hey, he's a rookie. Just wait your time. Your time will come someday. You know what I mean? And play your role.
We haven't really talked defense at all.
I was just about to get into that. Let's go ahead, Kyle. Why don't you start it up?
I think that this was a it was one of those things early on where you're saying to yourself, are we going to go through all this controversy or whatever this week over Zach Wilson, who's starting at quarterback, and then the defense is then going to quote unquote let us down. And that was like an early feeling, but that kind of went away as the defense started to kind of heat up, and they ran the ball a bit better than I would have liked to have seen.
Agreed.
But we still got really good play from front four, and Bryce Huff coming in there and being electric when he needs to be. I guess this is probably the only time that I've seen anybody complete contested passes on both Sauce and DJ Reed this year.
Yeah, definitely. So, definitely.
It just goes to show you how good it's been when you're looking at that and you're saying, this guy just made a tremendous catch for the touchdown on DJ Reed, the Pringle guy. Yeah. And then, that other pass that Sauce gave up was a PI.
That was his second PI. Just the other one wasn't called.
As well as a contested catch. But Sauce didn't give up any touchdowns in the game. So when it all comes down to it, if you can put together those drives on offense, your defense can kind of settle in and you can run the ball a little bit. I would imagine our defense probably played half as many plays or time of possession in the second half this week than they did last week.
That's a good point. Very good point right there, because last week they were on the field a lot, even though they played exceptionally well, but they were on the field a lot. And, for them not to be on as much. And I saw a lot of second stringers in there. I saw a lot of Shepard in there. I saw a lot of Michael Clemens, and those guys were holding their own. I saw Solomon Thomas make a nice play as well in the backfield for a tackle for a loss. So it was good to get those guys out there, get some good game reps, and making some plays too. I just think that the defense played almost in like the first quarter, first half, a bend but don't break, considering all the rushing yards that they gave up. But we only let up one touchdown the whole game, and I love the way that Mosley sealed it in the end with the red zone interception. So that was dope.
Yeah,
and the fact that those 10 points were scored in the first quarter. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So you gotta factor in. There's something. They were clearly more aggressive in the second half, right? In terms of stunting, there wasn't a whole lot more blitzing, but definitely I saw some stunting going on the defensive line, and I just wanted to give a little shout out to Tanzel Smart, who came off of the practice squad as well and played, very well from what I saw in terms of not getting pushed back into the defensive backfield when being double teamed, eating up blocks. So,
yeah, I think for the defense, it was more attitude. And I think the first quarter, you thought that their third string quarterback was going to start for them. And when you look at it, I think, you get a little bit less up for a game when you think Nathan Peterson is going to be on the other side, right? So I think they started off that way, sort of like a trap game for the defense a little bit. And then they said, well, wait a minute. They're actually doing stuff. You know what? Let's play out like we're supposed to play. And then so they shut them down in the second quarter, in the third quarter. And then even when the fourth quarter they gave up some chunk plays, to the running back, they still closed it out with the interception. So they did, listen, it was 31-10. It's not like it was 31-28. At the end of the day, I don't think they played their best defense ever. But I know they're going to show up against Minnesota as well as Buffalo the next 2 weeks. So I'm not concerned about that.
I'll tell you who played really well. That our safety tandem played really well. And I remember the first two games of the season, all of us on the BKBK podcast
were all over them.
Really concerned with our safeties, and we've been pretty silent on them as of late, especially like a day like today and other games. Our safeties played really well. I love the way that I saw them come up in the run game and be able to read the run versus the pass. Joyner almost had a nice pick, but it ended up being just a pass defended because he ended up dropping it. But the safeties have been playing really well, teaming up really well with our cornerbacks. Our nickel slot corner has been playing really well. And I'd say if I had to pick a weakness, actually today it was the defensive line, but just in
right. I was gonna say where was Q? Right?
Yeah. He was there, but his stats weren't up there like we're used to seeing.
Nah.
But hey, he's playing 17 games. He'll be all right. He's still, I think he's tied or leads the lead as far as interior linemen, as far as sacks are concerned. And he's got a healthy dose of solo plus assisted tackles. He's going to be an all-pro. I'm confident in that. But I think today was a down game for the defensive line as far as stopping the run. I'm not going to say causing pressure or getting sacks. We still got 2, I believe.
Yeah.
And caused pressure and made things uncomfortable. But as far as just stopping the run, it was, not the best. But, hey, we held them to 10 points, right? We beat them 31-10. So I'll take that.
I think that safety is the weakest place on our team right now, taking injuries out of things, right? If Whitehead and Joyner are starting safeties, then I think that's like one of the first positions we're going to look to upgrade come
I agree.
the draft. A lot of times I look at like a Kyle Hamilton.
The offensive line?
I think that with the offensive line, if we were completely healthy,
right,
I don't think that we're in the same place. So that's why I'm saying, taking injuries out of it. If you're just talking about like skill level, those are the 2 best safeties we have. Anybody that's not in right now is below them skill level. Ashton Davis is a draft pick that hasn't worked out as a position player. He's going to be a lifetime special teams player now, in my opinion. Or else he would get more opportunities.
Sure.
And I think that's one of the reasons they were playing Jason Pinnock at safety rather than corner. After they sorted out all those D-backs that they had at one point. But I look at Kyle Hamilton and I say, wow, if we had gotten Kyle Hamilton, the way that he would be in this defense would make this defense like,
yeah. I mean,
let's say that
guys.
I mean,
come on. We have the top 5 defense in the NFL right now. So we're being picky. We're being picky. Look, everybody they were high on Joyner before he got hurt when Pinnock had to step in, right? Is that as I recall? I think that's
sure.
part of the reason why
Pinnock
was
Pinnock never got to play safety for us because he got cut before.
No, I'm talking about last year.
Last year.
Yes, he did.
He played safety last year?
Absolutely,
he
played
got
safety
switched
for us
to safety
too.
last year. Yeah,
absolutely. Because
he ended up starting.
I thought that was
playing well.
This year.
He was playing well. No, that was last year.
Yep.
But because Pinnock is now on the Giants, playing corner. But my point is, I think they only rushed for 127 yards, the Chicago, for the game. So I think we're looking at it and we're analyzing how our defense played against the rush. I think we're being picky because we're spoiled a little bit.
Of course,
right?
yes.
Bit.
I mean,
right? I mean, they have a formidable running back. Chicago does.
What? David Montgomery, you're gonna call formidable? He is on my fantasy squad, and that is blasphemous. That is blasphemous to call him formidable. Please.
Maybe I knew that. Maybe I knew that.
I would love for the Jets to get like a Derwin James to come in here and play
of course.
Safety.
Oh my God.
We're not paying a Derwin James.
I think their backup running back is better than Montgomery.
Okay, whatever. But the point that I'm making is that we can't have an all pro at every position. We got 2 corners that are we got 2 cornerbacks that are going to make the Pro Bowl. Whitehead is playing considerably better now than after Reed made that comment of we're not communicating. The defensive coordinator is not putting us in the positions to win because we don't know where we're supposed to be. Which was like the first 5 games, right? It was early. It was earlier on the season. I mean, they're starting to be able to, part of being a defensive backfield is knowing where everybody is supposed to be, and that wasn't happening as often as we needed it to happen. And Joyner, we wanted to toss Joyner in the garbage can, the first 3 games that he played.
And he should have been there.
Right. And yes, but he's been playing significantly better now.
Yes.
Is what I'm saying.
The garbage can should have been on fire and everything because it was a dumpster. Right? Yeah. But now they fixed it. Should have been right over Kyle's shoulder right there. Just throw him right in there. But right now, it's good. Came out, even better for it. So I feel good about where we're at right now.
I feel good about where we're at right now. But you know what? We just ended this game. We're playing the Vikings next week. And Sauce Gardner's going up against Justin Jefferson.
I love it.
This is going to be the truest of the truest tests right here. I mean, I know we played against Cincinnati.
Wait a minute. I mean, hello. Look at the competition he's played against from day one. From day one.
Jamar
I mean, Jefferson is just par for the course at this point.
No. He is the course. Let's be honest. Justin Jefferson is the course.
I was basically saying that he already went up against.
Did we not play Cincinnati? Did we not play Cincinnati?
That's what I said. You cut me off. That's what I was saying. I was saying that.
Did we not play Miami?
Listen. JJ is the course. Okay, let's it's Cooper Kupp.
Did we not play Diggs? Did we not play Diggs?
It's Cooper Kupp.
Oh my God.
And JJ,
who he got traded for, by the way. Anyway,
everybody else. Okay.
Nah, I would put Devontae Adams up there too. Then, you know what I'm saying? It's JJ, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, and your man in Miami. Then everybody else.
It's in Minnesota. It's on turf, indoors. We'll see.
And then you got Dalvin Cook. You got a good tight end over there in.
They got a formidable offense.
They do.
They do. So it's going to be a good test for the entire defense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love their defense, though. That's one thing I would say about Minnesota. I do not love their defense. So if we can stay with them as far as scoring points, we can hold them back from what they are accustomed to being, we can win this game, bros. I mean, I don't. Now that I have a quarterback, I feel it can go out there and
execute
the offense on schedule. Right?
Yep.
Right? Yep. I don't fear anybody out there. I'm not saying that we can't lose because we can, but we can beat anybody out there right now with the defense that we have. That's how confident I feel.
Listen, we already beat the Buffalo Bills, and I will put that offense on par with the Vikings. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to give us a shot. It just depends on our quarterback play. Remember, we beat the Bills with Zach Wilson, just playing a little bit below average. If Mike White can play even just somewhat like today, we have a good shot. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
What's next?
I agree.
What's next, B?
What we doing?
Tweaking and peeking?
Yeah, let's tweak out and peek out. Play that music, B.
You gave me no warning, but it's okay. I'm a professional, so we're going to let it rock.
It's all right. We don't need the warnings, man. We'll be all right. Just look at everybody's pretty face.
Look into the fire. Have a Zen moment.
Yeah, you know that. More wood for the fire. Flames on fire.
Doesn't go with the music, but it's fine. It's fine.
Y'all don't know that reggae song.
No, we all know that reggae song.
Nobody does.
Come on.
Nobody does.
Fire.
Anyway,
all right, everybody. We are fire. Hear me now. So, all right, everybody. This is a segment we call Tweak Me, Peek Me. We're going to list off the things that tweak us out, meaning we're not too happy about it, and things that just peak us, which brings us to that higher level that we absolutely love. I'm just checking out everyone's faces. I think Brian wants to go first. He's got that cheese grin on his face. You know what I'm saying? So B, why don't you go for it?
I'll do it. I'll go. I'll go all the way in. You know what? You know what tweaks me? That we lost to the Patriots twice. Right? That we lost to the Patriots.
Wow.
Any other team, but we lost to the Patriots twice. Right? And we lost last week because we were so inept on offense that they had to beat us with a punt return for a touchdown.
And in 2 games, Patriots only scored 1 touchdown.
Right. In 2 games. So it tweaks me that Mike White wasn't our quarterback during those 2 games to see how we would have fared. You know? So that's what really tweaks me right now. Because we are 7-4, and they hung 2 losses on us, and they scored 1 offensive touchdown. We had more passing yards in the first drive of today's game than we had in all of the last game. That's what really tweaks me. What piques me right now is Michael. I wish I knew his last or middle name, White, because I'd say his whole government right now.
It's effing. Mike effing.
That's what he said. That's right.
Effing like the vodka, huh? Right. I love it. Right. Yes. That's what piques me right now. You know why? Somebody say why.
Why?
Pourquoi?
Because we have a Super Bowl level defense. We have Z, the kicker, who can kick it from anywhere.
Megatron?
Legatron. That's what you call it. Legatron.
Legatron.
Right.
In a torrential storm.
Right. 57 yards. My wife was like, they're not going to kick it from there, are they? I said, heck yeah, they are.
Oh, I said, you better not.
Oh, yeah, they're going to kick it from there.
You better not.
Yeah, they're going to. And then he hit it. And you know what? We have a running game and a commitment enough to it in order to do that as well. We have complementary football. The missing piece was a quarterback that could play competently.
That was average.
And now we got a guy who just threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, 78%. I think that's a little bit above average. And so now when I look at being 7-4, and I think 10 wins gets us into the playoffs, I feel super confident in where we are. So I am piqued by that. Who's next?
Understand that the rest of the league will get the book on Mike White. So
that's fine.
Okay.
Book it.
Just wanted to make sure.
Book it. Who's next?
Go ahead, Gary. I want to hear what you have to say.
You know what? I'm going to go last.
You go last?
Yes.
All right. What's up, Kyle?
First of all, I think that the book on Mike White is out there already, and it's efficiency. So you can't defend efficiency. All right, you can throw some bells and whistles at it, but quick release, efficiency, mistake-free football, hard to defend.
Sounds like Tom Brady though.
That's why Tom Brady's
wow,
so good for
wow, dude.
Right.
Did I step on you with what you was gonna say?
No, I mean I think that I was talking about it with the guys I was watching the game with today, and it's like when you look at just how efficient people see the field sometimes, you know when they're in a rhythm, right? And we've seen Mike White in a rhythm more than once, so I'm very happy about that. But that's not my tweak peak. So the thing that's tweaking me is that for 2 weeks there has been some sort of special teams faux pas that has led to either outcome of a game being decided or the loss of points. And I say that tweaks me because my expectations when it comes to this special teams unit are very high. Like I'd like to say that we have the best special teams and the best defense in the league.
Yeah.
And Brad Boyer is in my opinion, the best special teams coach in the league right now. That's why he's been in 3 regimes here. So it disappoints me when we have bad games special teams wise. Okay. Again, it's a very particular tweak. The thing that piques me is that
Hey, Kyle, before you go to peak, just a quick question. Did Brent take over after West left?
I believe I don't believe that there was anybody between Westhoff and him.
But he kept
Yeah.
Saleh kept him on.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, Gase kept him on, and
Yep.
he was with what's his face before? Who was before Gase? Bowles.
Yeah, Bowles. Yep.
Yeah.
With all 3.
So with my peak, I gotta say for the first time in a really long time, I feel like the organizational structure that we have at the Jets is on an elite professional level to the point where they can work through problems, figure out solutions, and deal with things. And I think that there was people going into the season that were unsure about Robert Saleh, saying, I don't know. I don't know if he has it as a head coach, time management and things like that, blah, blah, blah. I think the combination of Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh and the ability of Woody Johnson to let them do their job and to not micromanage it, just it piques me in such a high way that to think that like we could potentially be good for years to come if we continue on the path that we're on, and that we have people that structurally can sit people down when they're full crap and take the heat for that, and then bring them back in. I mean, it's like high school coaching. Like if you can't keep your team engaged but also disciplined, then you never really have a team. And I think somebody said earlier, this is a year to year. You have a totally different team next year. You're going to lose C.J. Mosley and you're going to lose Joe Flacco, right? Those two veteran leaders will not be on the team next year.
Mosley, I don't know, bro. I don't
know. At $19 million a year, no, he's not. I just think he's priced out of where he is at currently as a player. And I love him as a player, but it's a lot of money to have invested. It's like the highest salary on the team. And Joe Flacco is, he's on borrowed time. So, you'll probably have somebody else sitting there. And Mike White is on a restricted 1 year, I think. Yep. So if he plays really, really good this year, and he's a free agent again, someone's going to want him.
He's going to want to go somewhere else to start.
Well, you're going to play week to week right now. I'm really also peaked at my prediction of 10 wins. The only person that predicted that is looking better and better every week that goes by.
Sure.
We'll go back to the videotape when that happens.
This is not the commercial. We don't need
to. So everybody understands. Warner Wolf style. Go back. Roll the tape.
I'm gonna have to cut you off, Kyle, because you're stealing all of my tweaks and peaks. So yeah, man. So
go for it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start with tweak first. Brian made a great point. I was gonna go with another tweak, but I'm just gonna piggyback off of Brian's. That those two New England losses, especially the second one, it still doesn't sit right with me. That really bothers me. There's no teams. I'll tell you the three teams that I hate the most in the entire NFL, and it goes in order. I hate the Patriots, I hate the Dolphins, and I hate the Dallas Cowboys. You know what I mean? They just tweak me out. But anyway, whatever. It just still not sitting right with me that we lost the way that we lost. On that punt return at the end of the game. They score. Time is run a timeout. It still bothers me. So this win today feels good. And then also, it tweaks me out so much. There's this kid that I work with. Nice kid, nice young man. He's only 24 years old. His name is Ethan. A good guy. You know what I mean? But he looks just like Mac Jones. The same look on his face. And it kind of bugs me a little bit when I look at him too long. So I have to turn away, or, sometimes I might get a little grouchy with him. Like, no, put your chair over there. And it's like, oh, sorry, dude. You kind of Mac Jones me out a little bit. Sorry, man. No, I'm just kidding. No, he's a good kid. I don't do that, but that's it. And then on my peak, you know what? A lot of you guys have been talking about Mike White, deservedly so, but just so that I sprinkle a little extra sazon on the other side of things. I'm going to talk about Robert Saleh, man. There was a lot of question marks coming into this year if he was going to be a good coach. And I think he's been a better than good coach. I think he's been an excellent coach. And, of course, he's tag teaming with Joe Douglas. So, I think they go hand in hand. But the way that they've handled the different personalities on the team with guys wanting to be traded and handling that, and then now we see them on the field making plays. look at the litany of injuries on our offensive line, and we're still able to run the ball and, play action pass and do things like that. Look at the struggles of Zach Wilson, and we still have a 7-4 record. Okay, we were able to beat Miami. We were able to beat Buffalo. Just one mishap, and we were, or just, just a handful of mishaps between the two games. We could have beaten New England in both of those games. So the fact that he's doing the job that he's doing, Breece Hall, we all four of us absolutely love Breece Hall. Love him. And I have him in fantasy and I love him. And, he's out for the year. And, we didn't miss, we kind of had to change things up a little, but we were still effective and we're still a winning team. So I just got to tip my hat to Robert Saleh and to Joe Douglas. They get my peak out of the Tweak and Peak Me segment that we're doing right now. Wonderful job to those guys. And I hope that we make it to the playoffs as a result.
So, I think I only have one minor tweak, like a hammy short pull, and that is the James Robinson effect. Trying to figure out why he was inactive when you traded away a pick for him to replace Breece Hall. So, other than that, I think what piques me is that I'm not doing mock drafts before Halloween.
Amen. Yes. Amen. Right? Amen.
And it's because of the redirection of this organization. It hasn't been a long time. It's been a long time since I can say that I'm proud of how the Jets have handled adversity. You're not defined by how you handle success. You're defined by how you handle adversity. How you change course when what you put in place isn't working. How you take the temperature of an organization and then you decide how to handle things. Clearly, nobody in that locker room was happy with how Zach Wilson handled the adversity, right? What came out of his mouth was way more impactful than how he played on the field. And to be able to identify that, right, to be able to go into the locker room, to have conversations with your team, to evaluate how to handle it. This could have been handled 20 different ways. And I think the old regime, the old Jets, would have handled it poorly. Because in many instances, it was handled. Situations were handled. The adversity was handled poorly. And we're standing at 7-4 with 6 games left, with an opportunity to make the playoffs. I'm peaked.
Or win the division. That's not out of the realm of possibility.
Hey. I'm not being greedy. Look.
Just
I ain't being greedy.
Just saying, it's all. Here's the
everything point. Is on the table.
Exactly.
I get it. Right, like it's Thanksgiving, and I want my cranberry sauce. Okay, I want my cranberry sauce, and I want my turkey.
Sure.
Not you, Brandon, but I want my turkey.
A real turkey.
Okay.
Gobble gobble, boy.
Yeah, I'm peaked.
You.
All right. So, guys, girls, kids, everybody, you heard it here first. This is the BKBK podcast about to sign off. So thanks for watching another episode of our podcast. We want to be able to bring you the latest news and viewpoints of where sports and the culture collide. Let me clear my throat for this. And the New York Jets reign supreme. All right. You got that right. Yeah, man. So keep watching. You can find us on Facebook, on our BKBK Facebook page. You can find us on Instagram at BKBK Podcast, as well as on YouTube, all right? Just go to YouTube, type in BKBK Podcast. Everybody, make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button. We want to get as many viewers as we can, all righty? And also find us on Twitter at BKBK Podcast, all right? So glad that you guys joined us. We had another fun one today. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Also, you can also find us if you're just in the car driving, you can't watch us, you can listen. Just go to bkbkpodcast.podomatic.com, all right? You can check us out on that. All right. So hey guys, let's go BKBK podcast. Let's go Jets. And hey, let's go Baldwin Bruins. All right. Let's do it.
Yeah, and happy birthday to this guy.
Oh yeah, happy birthday to Kerry. God bless you, Kerry, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. We just had the Thanksgiving holidays and bring on Christmas. Let's go. And by the way, good job, Sam Darnold, today. He wins the game for the Panthers and throws a couple TDs, I believe. And I think he has some good yardage in there, too. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But a former Jet, I'll show him some props, give him the respect. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe we didn't ruin him.
Hopefully we didn't ruin him. You know, he was a nice dude. I met him once. He's a very nice guy. Yeah. Good kid. Yeah. Good kid. Whatever. All right. But, you know, but we're done with you. So.
All right. You ready?
Bye.
Bye. Bye.